Alright YouTube, it's your boys Youngsters, and today we're going to be going over something that has became some kind of event that I actually found quite fun. It started off as a debate and then it became some kind of event, which is actually pretty fun and pretty good for me, and I'll get into it. But we're going to be talking about who is better between red ESTAROSSA and green GRIAMORE. Now, before disclaimer or anything like that, I've said this millions of times, right? But they just don't listen. Red ESTAROSSA and GRIAMORE, they're both ass. They're garbage. Both of them are garbage. But we're going to determine who is better between the two. Now, me personally, I think ESTAROSSA is better than GRIAMORE. But what we're going to do in here, and I'm going to be very unbiased, and I'm going to give reasons behind things. So we're going to do like categories and points and stuff. So we're going to go based off stats. Whoever has higher stats at level 1s gets a point. Whoever has more usage when it comes to cards gets a point. Whoever has more usage when it comes to ultimate gets a point. And whoever has a better passive gets a point. Right? And then I guess maybe we could do links. I'm not sure about the links, but we'll see. Right, so we're going to do that, and I'm going to be unbiased here, very unbiased, because I'm going to give reasons. So, we're going to start off, right? Also, if you guys don't know why, if you guys showed up to the stream, or if you've seen it and you didn't show up and you've seen it off a video, why I was upgrading my ESTAROSSA, is because I made a bet with Amazing that if we lost in this poll we did yesterday, for green GRIAMORE versus red ESTAROSSA, if I lost, I'd have to max out red ESTAROSSA and use him in PvP for a whole week, which is actually fine because it kind of gave me, I was kind of forced to upgrade a character I had never used, and I actually like using the red ESTAROSSA. It was actually fun when I dropped off a Las Vegas team and made him rage quit. That was hilarious. So we're gonna go off of stats first, right? If we look at stats, CC ESTAROSSA wins right there, right? Attack, ESTAROSSA wins. Defense, now GRIAMORE apparently is a more defensive unit, but he has less defense by 10. ESTAROSSA has a point. Well, it's not like a point per stat. We're just going to say, so right now ESTAROSSA is winning, right? HP is the same, okay? Pierce ESTAROSSA has more. Resistance ESTAROSSA has more. Regeneration is tie, okay? Crit chance ESTAROSSA has more. Crit damage, ESTAROSSA has more. Crit resistance, ESTAROSSA has more. Crit defense, GRIAMORE has more. A recovery rate, GRIAMORE has more. And lifesteal, ESTAROSSA has more. So based off of this, ESTAROSSA has 1 point. ESTAROSSA has 1 point right there. Okay, now we're gonna go to skills, right? First skill. Inflicts damage equal to 220% of an attack on one enemy and disables recovery skills for 1 turn. On rank 2 it's the same thing, but for 2 turns. On rank 3 it's 360% and for 2 turns as well. GRIAMORE inflicts damage equal to 120% on all enemies, rank 1. And it's the same thing on rank 2, but he removes stances from all enemies and inflicts disable stance skills for 1 turn. Rank 3, it's the same thing, but instead of 120, it's 180, and instead of 1 turn, it's 2 turns for disable stance skills. So if I had to choose between these two skills, again, I'm going to be very unbiased, I'm going to give a reason why. ESTAROSSA would win. Reason being, if you guys don't know, if you play PvP right now, the teams you're seeing most of the time are going to be Lost Vein and King together, or Pierce, or even Lilia. You're going to see a healer, basically. You're always going to see a healer on somebody's team, right? This disable recovery, not only does it have a more percentage, like more percent, right, by 100, but he also, disables recovery skills. This is going to be more more viable, more usable and more dependable than something like removing stance from all enemies and then disabling stance skills on a rank 2. Not only that, not only is it on a rank 2, the thing about this is that not everybody in the game uses a stance. There's only like 5 characters in this game that has a stance that are out on global. I'm not even sure. It's not a lot though, and most of them are SRs. So this really doesn't do anything, but this could be useful. this could be much more useful, especially in the metas right now, than this could. So I'm giving ESTAROSSA a point for his first skill. I just find it much more better. Here you need a rank 2 just to get this off when not everybody will have a stance. You're barely going to run into teams that have stance users. And then there's this, which disables recovery skills, which means it stops you from cleansing. Now we're going to go on to their second skills. Inflicts cold destruction equal to 170, 255, 425. Now cold destruction is 20% increased damage per debuff on the target. Okay. Now GRIAMORE assumes a stance which increases HP related stats by 12% and deals damage by 30% for 1 turn. Right, so that's on rank 1. Our rank 2, it's 18% for HP related stats and 45 for damage dealt. And then on rank 3, 30% and 75 for 1 turn when it comes to damage dealt. And 30% HP recovery. Now, between both of them, I'd probably give it to ESTAROSSA. It's like I'm looking at this one and I feel like it's this. But the thing when I come back to this shield wall skill, the thing is that it's not guaranteed taunt, which I know a lot of other characters have, right? They have this basically the same thing but with taunt. Now the reason why this is not, I don't feel like this is better than this is because you're not forced to attack GRIAMORE. With this, you're not forced to attack him. Right? He can have this up for 1 turn. You don't have to attack him until you get your ult. And if you're using Lost Fin or King or somebody with AoE, you don't need to attack him when this is up. Here, this will actually benefit him because he has a debuffing skill on rank 1. So this is actually going to be much better because again, he has one on a rank 1. Now we're going to go to ultimates, right? So right now ESTAROSSA has 3 points, GRIAMORE has 0. Right? Again, they're both like trash units, but I'm just finding this, like his kit works perfectly together while GRIAMORE's doesn't really. You need a rank 2 here. Well, again, those are not hard to get. Rank 3s, if you get lucky, but rank 2s are not hard to get with Gother, or even if you get lucky with 2 cards at the start of the turn. Now, if we look at their ultimates, GRIAMORE, I would start off for ESTAROSSA, assumes a stance for 1 turn, which performs a preemptive strike before attacked. So basically, before an ally is attacked, inflicting 300% of an attack and disabling all skills. Now, GRIAMORE taunts enemies and decreases. Decreases? Can I read? Hello. Taunts enemies and increases defense-related stats by 280% for 4 turns. And then with a link of Fraudulent Dreyfus, whatever, it's 320 for 5 turns. Very good. Now, if I had to choose between these two, this is definitely going to be more useful. But GRIAMORE wins. Now, the reason why GRIAMORE wins when it comes to ult, because as you see, the first thing assumes a stance. This is very good for GRIAMORE because he removes stances, which means he could remove this instantly. Right? He could legit stop. Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. It is him. I forgot. The thing is, when GRIAMORE removes stances, that's an attack card. Because of his ultimate, GRIAMORE won't be able to attack him and remove stances. So ESTAROSSA definitely have that in the bag again, because for a whole turn they're not going to be able to do anything except heal, which they probably won't be able to do because of disable recovery 1 or rank up, which is the only thing they can do. But any attacking skills won't happen. So if they use a dodge for a Derriere, for example, the dodge will run out that 1 turn because nobody's going to be doing anything to them. Right? So you get an extra turn basically with this. While GRIAMORE's, it's a buff. You could remove this, right, with somebody like Escanor, who I have here actually. Right? Removes buffs on rank 2. You could just remove it. His thing is a buff. Instantly remove. Even if this was a buff, you can't remove it because it's an attacking skill. It's an attacking skill that Escanor would do, for example. So this would just proc and go off. So if we're talking kit wise and usage wise in battle, I give it to ESTAROSSA 1000%. Because again, disabling recovery skills is going to be more beneficial than removing stances from all enemies when nobody uses characters that have stance, right? Inflicting cold destruction is going to be better than giving yourself well, not really, it's not going to be better than giving yourself HP, you know, related stats increase. But the thing is, you're not forced to attack Griamore unless you have the ult up, which you could remove with somebody like Escanor, right? So yeah, and then ultimate, you're not even allowed to attack, you're not allowed to play the game. And again, with recovery skill, you can't cleanse or do anything or heal anyway. So there's that. Now if we go to the passives, ESTAROSSA increases attack by 10% for each debuff on the hero. Okay? Increases attack by a value equal to 30% of the hero's defense at the start of turn. So he gets his attack increased by 30% of the defense he has. So basically, let's just talk about this, I guess, level 1 stat, or here, 80, 606, right? He basically, what would happen is that he get 30% more attack of this. So 30% would just be added onto his attack. That's what it is. It'd still be weak, technically, but that's it, right? ESTAROSSA, now this thing, the reason why this, Griamore beats ESTAROSSA 1000% in passive, if we're talking single units, like only these two together, nobody else, then Griamore definitely wins. Because yes, ESTAROSSA's commandment does kind of cuck him because he decreases attack related stats by 20% for 3 turns when using damaging skill, basically. So if he uses an attack card, this won't happen because his thing will be decreased. Now obviously it's any debuff, but after he attacks a second time, this would be active, which he would technically be losing 10%. He'd basically be having negative 10 attack. Now the thing is, cold destruction, if he uses this first and then uses this, he'd get 20% back. So he'd have 10% still, which is actually pretty good. Because not too much, but if we look at King, right, increases fairy allies basic stats by 8%. Now I don't know if this includes King himself, but King is a very godly unit, and he basically doesn't have a passive in PvP, right? ESTAROSSA doesn't really have. He kind of has a passive in PvP, but not really, right? But it does work. Right now, if we're talking about in-game battle, this is going to be much more better because now you're going to be also decreasing your enemy's attack related stats by 20%. And now let's go back to something more usable or more valuable, more viable, disable recovery skills. Right, you're going to be, when this is effective, let's say you're fighting Lost Vein, and if you guys watched the stream, you would see Lost Vein attacked me, right? But before he got his ult, this procced. But because there was nobody who can cleanse anyways. But if King was there, I would have used this disable recovery, and King wouldn't be able to cleanse. So when that Lost Vein ult, he legit did no damage, right? He did no damage. So if I'm going off of everything, Griamore probably hand-to-hand combat in a 1v1 with Griamore and ESTAROSSA. When it comes to passive, Griamore will win when it comes to passive. But if we're talking about full PvP with a team, ESTAROSSA will be more viable. So if we're talking who's better, I'm giving it to ESTAROSSA because more usable. Not everybody has a stance. Barely anybody in the game has a stance. Right, the characters who have a stance, the only character you're gonna see who has a stance is Green ESTAROSSA, probably, right? Cold Destruction, he has a debuffing card, so his cards complement each other, which is nice. This doesn't because he can remove stance, yes, but he can also assume a stance, yes, but you're not forced to attack him. A stance is not a taunt, right? And his ultimate is, yeah, it's good too. It taunts defense. Basically, you're gonna patience. But when you have people like Escanor who's running around PvP, he's gonna remove the buff, which taunt is a buff, basically. If I remember, yeah, it is a buff. So yeah, his ultimate is basically what Green Tank Diane does right here, right. But the thing is, hers taunts on a skill, right? This is basically the same thing, kind of, but it's HP related stats. It's defense related stats, I mean. But this has a taunt as well, plus her passive. So out of these two, after looking at the two, I'm going to give it to ESTAROSSA. He's better in my opinion. Let me know what you think, and if you think Griamore is better than ESTAROSSA, please let me know why, and let me know how it affects him in PvP as not only a unit, but as a whole, from the enemies and your own team and stuff like that, like how ESTAROSSA does. Anyways, I'm Zeuxis. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, share, and comment. And yeah, I would like to also thank Amazing for this debate. The reason being is because it gave me a chance to upgrade a character I would never use, and it gave me a chance to, like, I never used Red ESTAROSSA before, never. So me using him finally, it was kind of nice, because I actually did take a W against the Lost Vein with this, because of his commandment, how he worked and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope we could do this again. I want to make this some kind of series, unit battles I was thinking of calling it. But yeah, I'm Zeuxis. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, share, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out there.